Let's welcome in Robert Davi, actor, singer, and a man who is not afraid to say he's a conservative. Hello, sir.
Hello, Steve. How are you, buddy?
I am well. I am well. Good to talk to you. I know you got so many exciting things coming up, which we're going to talk about. You're coming to New York to do a movie. You're going to be performing at Eisenhower Park out on Long Island. You're going to be in Bel Air. You're going to be in Vegas with Don Rickles. But first, the closing arguments are over. The jury were getting the case today in the George Zimmerman trial. I want to read you something from Russell Simmons. And Russell Simmons tweeted out or wrote a piece, and he said, whether George Zimmerman is found innocent or guilty by the jury, I'm a firm believer that all of us live by karmic law, and he will ultimately be punished for the death of Trayvon no matter what. Now, this comes, in the atmosphere of the cops planning for and fearing Rodney King-like riots down in Sanford, in Miami, and in other parts of the country. What kind of statement is that for Russell Simmons to make?
Well, anybody can make any kind of statement they want, and it's complex issues in life, and sometimes people's where they're coming from and what their experience are, and of course, the history of the black man in America and the violence toward black men in America early on, and perceived violence, even though it was a whole other, you really open that can of worms, it's something else. But there were also, just to frame something, in one day there were more lynchings of Italian Americans than anybody else, than Italians in New Orleans in one day. So irrespective of the compassion someone feels for the death of a son, what I'm perplexed about is, what about the kids in Chicago that are being killed, the crime done with the same, and kids all over the country being killed by violence and guns, Hispanics and blacks and black on black crime, and there's a tremendous imbalance here, I think, on this one issue, and it's complex, and it's become now a political hot potato that people want to rally around on some way or another, the thing. And I haven't followed the trial very much. I've heard the closing statements a little bit today, and the idea of in a situation like that, where they say a 17-year-old boy. Now, how tall was he, Steve?
He was. I think it was 5. He was taller than George Zimmerman. He weighed less, but he was taller than George Zimmerman. And I think the thing here is,
how tall was he? Do we know? Was he?
Yeah, we do. I think he was 5. I think 5'11" or 5'10", and Zimmerman was like 5'8" or 5'5". So he was taller than Zimmerman. So to call him a boy is in age technically against in the eyes of the law, as they tried to slip in child abuse, third-degree murder.
The reason why I bring this up is I've got 5 kids. Okay, my 12-year-old boy and my 12-year-old girl, when they get angry, it could be frightening, the rage a kid has.
Of course.
My son, who's 30 now, when he was 17, he and I had a falling out, and he went. He didn't lay a finger on me, but he destroyed some of the house.
No, Robert, you bring up a great point, but you bring up even a better point. When this happened, and it came to light that this happened after the police department decided no crime was committed, it was self-defense, and they weren't pressing charges, and Al Sharpton got involved. Barack Obama came out and said, if I had a son, he would look like Trayvon. I'm not sure what that means. I guess any white person in this country, any kid, I could say if I had another son, he'd look like that kid because I'm white. And then, of course, you had the Justice Department, it turns out now, sending people down there to help organize the anti-Zimmerman rallies. This case is based on race. It never should have been brought. And your point of who's speaking out for the kids who are killed every day in Chicago and in cities around the country, usually by other minorities or blacks, nobody.
This is where this is a bigger issue than look at every death is terrible, and But there's a complex thing going on here that everybody's putting under the rug. How about there? How about what's happening in Chicago? Where I don't see the trials on that. I don't see trials going after this. Well, why did this guy? And now, all right, an innocent boy. I don't know all the ramifications, and I do have a sensitivity toward race. I have a sensitivity because of my Italian America. I was called Dago, Wop, Pizza Face. I had a lot of stuff that I had to go through because of whatever prejudice someone had a white wasp may have had against a guinea back in the day. So I have a sensitivity, absolutely. But at the same time, I can't say, no one can say for sure what happened at that moment. All we do know is that the guy's nose was broken. There could be, what happened? When is his life in danger, and when is he fearful of something?
Right, and they pointed out, Robert, because I've been following like every morsel of the trial, that you don't even have to be hit. You don't even have to have a scratch to legitimately use self-defense. You only have to, in Florida specifically, you only have to have fear, legitimate fear in your own mind that you're going to be in imminent danger of your life or severe bodily harm. So he didn't even have to be hit. That's kind of a red herring. But, let me tell you an interesting story about Chicago. There was a story on CBS News several months ago. I played the whole report, and they would talk to the police chief, and they went put a camera in a cop car and went on a tour of duty with one of the cops. They tracked down this guy who had a gun. Turned out this guy was in jail for shooting someone and got out after 2 years, and here he was shooting someone again. And the police chief of Chicago said, "We don't have enough jail space to keep these people." You don't have enough jail space? Then build another jail. But if you say build another jail in this country, the Jesse Jacksons of the world will cream you, saying we already have more incarcerated men in this country than in any other civilized nation in the world. How dare you want to build another jail? But if you don't have the facilities to keep the bad guys in, kids are going to get killed.
It comes a point when you have to. It's education. It's a lot of different avenues, and instead of race baiting the whole thing, let's find the situation. Let's find out how we work together. Let's not separate each other. Blood is red, no matter what color. You know what I mean?
No, absolutely.
Let's find out where the issues are, what the problems are in the communities, why the crime, what the frustration is, what the anger is. Why are we continually festering in anger? That's an issue there. I don't know why. I'm not so bright to figure out all this stuff.
Well,
I don't know why. Yeah. I don't know why they're on that bandwagon, Steve, instead of a bandwagon of self-retrospect and these guys are spiritual guys. You know what I mean? Where's the self-reflection?
Well, there's usually money to be made in civil suits when it's something racially charged, and I fear that money kind of motivates and outweighs what's right. We're talking to Robert Davi, of course, and before we move on to another issue, you're going to be singing Sinatra, and your website, by the way, Davi Sings Sinatra. And it's .com, DaviSingsSinatra.com. You're going to be in Bel Air August 18th.
At Herb Alpert's Vibrato.
Right, you're going to be August.
But I'm real excited. Yeah. I'm real excited about my the 2 dates. August 30th in East Meadow at the Harry Chapin Lakeside Theater at Eisenhower Park.
Yeah. I loved Harry Chapin. I saw him when he used to perform at Central Park, obviously before his death. So I was a kid, but I'm not a kid. I was a teenager, but I loved watching him. So that's August 30th, right here in our backyard, Eisenhower Park.
Right there, and I want everyone. I'm a Long Island boy, born in the Astoria, Queens. I haven't done performances except for a couple of years ago in New York. So this will be with a big band, and it's a free concert, so I invite everybody out there. That's a fan of Goonies and Bond and Die Hard and whatever other films and TV things I've done. And check my music out, Davi Sings Sinatra. And then in September, 28th and 29th,
Vegas.
at New Orleans.
Vegas with Don Rickles.
With the legendary Don Rickles.
Wow, that
Mr.
is...
Warmth himself.
Yeah. All right, got one more for you. And you're going to be here in New York making a movie called The Life about the New York club scene.
Yeah, based on Danny A's life, who's a major club guy and a great actor. He was in The Iceman with me. And he's a guy, Jerry Ferrara, in the film from Entourage, and Jessica, I can't pronounce her name correctly, but another terrific actress. Great cast.
Yeah, no, I get that. That is going to be very, very exciting. And how do you feel about Elisabeth Hasselbeck? You ever watch The View and you watch Fox and Friends? Apparently, she's going to replace Gretchen Carlson, who's going to replace Megyn Kelly, and Elisabeth Hasselbeck's going to be on Fox and Friends.
And what's happening to Megyn? Where's Megyn going?
Well, there's a lot of speculation. She's going to primetime on Fox, they've said. But you got supposedly everybody in primetime, which is, by definition, 8, 9, and 10 o'clock. Hannity, O'Reilly, Hannity, and Greta, they've all signed new contracts. I read one report, I have no idea if it's true, that maybe they'll put Megyn with Hannity. I have no idea. But I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen, really.
Kelly and Hannity.
I wonder if it would be that way.
Hannity and Kelly. Who knows? I don't mean that. I mean, Sean's a great guy. But what's interesting is, I met Elisabeth one time. Nice lady. I just adore Gretchen. Gretchen is a terrific, very warm person.
Yes.
And so it'll be interesting. I think she'll be an interesting mix in the morning for Fox and Friends.
With Brian and Steve, who have persevered.
Great guys. Those are great guys.
I run into.
I did Fox and Friends the first year it was on.
Really?
Yeah, because of Profiler.
Oh, okay.
And it was a new network. You know what I mean? A new show.
Yeah.
So I've been doing them for.
I used to do that show a lot, all the time as well, especially on weekends. Anyway, Robert, my friend, we will chat with you. You'll be here next few weeks. We'll bring you up the studio live. I can't wait, and we'll speak to you soon.
Yeah. All I could say is, we got to put get the steam out of the frustration. One of the reasons why I'm doing the Great American Songbook, Steve, is because Sinatra was the first guy that came out against racial bigotry and anti-Semitism. And he was a guy that united people. He wouldn't go anywhere unless a black performer was allowed, or he wouldn't play at a place if they weren't allowed. He was one of the first guys fighting for those rights, and I remind people of his contribution to that. And I wonder what he would think nowadays in terms of, because our country is, I believe, the greatest country in the world. I've just been in Moscow filming, and I got to tell you, I didn't get anti-American sentiment in Moscow, in Russia. I got people that wanted to know about America, that respected America, wanted to come to America, understands America's freedoms and the contribution America's made to the world. They have a thing on the airport going to Moscow, after you leave the airport, where the German tanks was stopped by the Russians. And you think that if America didn't enter that thing, the whole Europe would look different.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
And so people that don't believe in American success, that pisses me off more than anything. They feed into this, wanting to criticize our country. Our country is an idea. People run the country sometimes that you don't have to necessarily agree with the way the direction they're taking the country in. But the country as a whole, America, the idea and ideal of America, that has to be upheld, and it is exceptional and respected. So.
Well, very well said, my friend.